First at 4, there are more revelations coming out about a construction company that was awarded more than $1 billion in federal contracts to build the wall along southern Arizona.
Early indications show the company is doing the work on the cheap and that their walls are vulnerable to collapse from erosion. Joe Dana explains what we've learned and why the company's shoddy record in Arizona should be a warning to the White House. Joe?
Congress members and government watchdogs are crying foul over this wall project and the company involved. But none of it is a surprise to residents of South Phoenix. 60 Minutes is the latest news agency to document erosion and structural problems of a Texas border wall, reporting that the company, Fisher Sand and Gravel, didn't pass necessary federal approval needed to begin building the wall, and that it inflated its claims about quality and speed of work. But President Trump intervened on behalf of the company, and according to former officials interviewed by 60 Minutes, the president pressured DHS officials and the Army Corps of Engineers to approve a contract worth nearly $2 billion.
I hope I never hear about this company ever again.
Problems with the company have never been a surprise to people like Steve Brittle, who fought against the Fisher asphalt plant near 28th Street and Broadway in Phoenix back in 2010.
They bought a place that was a simple sand and gravel outfit, built this thing without any city zoning process or anything like that.
A judge found Fisher never got the right permits, and the company voluntarily shut the plant down. But not before Phoenix filed 467 criminal charges against Fisher related to the plant. And Fisher was handed 2,000 city and county violations over it. It appealed 1,500 of them. Even after the asphalt plant closed, Fisher was still being fined by the EPA. Fisher Sand and Gravel, located in North Dakota, did not respond to our requests for comment. For now, the company plans to be back in Arizona, this time building dozens of miles of border wall across 3 counties. Southern Arizona Congressman Raul Grijalva has called for an investigation by the Department of Defense Inspector General. We'll be sure to bring you the results of that investigation once it's complete. In Phoenix, Joe Dana, 12 News.